How do you quickly and easily treat your parrot at home if they have an injury and you need to immediately do something before you take them to the vet? This video is specifically going to be about how to treat, in this case, a parrotlet who sustained some injuries on her feet. Let's see if you could see those. She's pretty well cut up on her feet. Her feet are bruised. I'm wondering if you could see that okay, if it comes through. You could see a little blood around her nair. You could see her wing has some issues in there and on there. And this is so that if you find yourself in that unfortunate situation, you kind of have some ideas, some things that you can start to do. Hey guys, I'm Kaylin, the author of The Parrot Bliss Mom. Please be sure to get your copy on Amazon.com today. You can also look for my new book, Get to Know African Gray Parrots and Cape Parrots. It should be released any day now. I keep saying that, but I'm just waiting for the publisher to send it back. My editor to send it back, and then I'll hit the trigger. I have over 20 species of parrots. My daughter and I raise my parrots. We take care of the parrots. Parrots are our bliss. And we have had some illness, we've had some injuries, because that's life. And even though we take really good care of our parrots, sometimes things happen. So good, bad, right, or wrong, we've had some experience, and I thought that could be something really wonderful to help you out. I'm moving my hair clip because my parents keep eating it. So let's talk about how we handle things for her. Let's get started. Frenchie's story, she's the parrotlet, and I'll post a picture of her. She's been doing a really good job of just resting with me, recuperating, and so far we're doing good. But her story is, she was in her cage with her 4 cage mates. Next to them are a pair of conures, and there was a divider, a wooden divider, because sometimes when you mix species, they'll bicker even through the cage, or the through the cage, through the bars, and within that, sometimes they can hurt each other, bite each other's feet, that kind of thing. So I put a wooden divider in. However, there was a little slit, and it was not a problem, for a long time. And then all of a sudden, we were checking on the birds, taking care of them, and Frenchie's head is stuck beyond the wood, and she couldn't get her head out. Basically, she was asking for help, and her mate Versailles had come, and I think was kind of doing what Ale was just doing, kind of grabbing at her arm. Oh, Macy wants pets. Come here, Mace. At her arm, at her wing, and just kind of like pulling on her, trying to help her out. I think grabbing her feet, trying to help her out, not meaning to injure her. And they were both panicked. So what did we do? The first thing we did was take a deep breath. I was like, relax, because in a panic you can't think and you can't figure out what to do. We had to unwedge her and get her out. So we pushed on the wooden divider so that it could open as much as we could, which wasn't quite enough to still get her out. And I had to just sit there and go, okay, if she got her head in, if she twists her head, she should be able to get it back out. I need to stay calm. I need for this not to hurt her, kill her, strangle her. We need to, just be calm about this. And we did. We pushed the wooden divider as much as we could, because it's up against the wall, so it can't really go any further. She almost shouldn't have been able to get her head in. So it's like, how did you do that? But then, I gently kind of held her head and did get her head back through so that she was on one side. And we immediately took her to the bathroom. We got out the hydrogen peroxide, and we were very careful to get the hydrogen peroxide under her wing as best we could. We kind of examined her body, saw that she had an injury under her wing, got hydrogen peroxide under her wing, saw that her feet were injured, got hydrogen peroxide on her feet. I can't say hydrogen peroxide is perfect for parrots, but I can say that it really seems to work. It's our go-to. And I, of course, like it because it doesn't sting, so it's not like it adds, pain can take a lot of energy, and she was already exhausted. So a lot of the time, if your parrot's in a panic or just stressed out or whatever from the injury, you kind of don't want to, on top of that, like add pain, because then they're already tired, and then they're like, So I like the hydrogen peroxide because generally speaking, it doesn't seem to have a big effect. Sometimes when I use it on myself, it does have a little sting, other times it doesn't. But you see it bubbling away at the blood, so like it's cleaning things. And my most important and significant thing is I want to make sure to try to clean up my bird so that there is not a infection. Okay, let's see if we can pan over a little and show you Miss Macy. Macy is my female cape who is loving pets. She wants nothing more than pets. We next put Frenchie in a small little carrier and had her checked out. She got an antibiotic. So now it's been 2 days. I'm watching to see if she's eating, and right now she can eat anything she wants as long as she's eating. She's getting the antibiotic, and because I have experience with hand feeding my baby parrots, I know how to hand feed an adult parrot, and when I need to, I do, and I have done that a couple of times with Frenchie because I don't feel like she's eating, and I don't expect her to eat necessarily a normal amount of food. Look at that. She's like, I'm resting, leave me alone. See, so she's alert, which is good. That's one thing to look for. She does move around, but I think her feet just hurt her so much that she's not moving a whole lot. She can fly, but that injured wing is probably hurting her. So, we're just letting her take it easy. I have force fed her a couple of times because I just want to make sure she's getting enough food in her. She's getting her antibiotics. So we'll see how she does, because if she did any internal damage, of course there's like no way of really seeing that. And she's a small bird, so it's kind of hard to tell. So we were fortunate because we didn't have to splint, like the wing's not broken. We didn't need to use our vet tape. If you need to splint, like if they have an injured wing, especially if they're kind of drooping it, you can always use vet tape and kind of tape it in place to their body, which they don't like. It's not easy to do. It's probably a 2-person job, and it may be a job where you get bitten. But having a few items on, and I've done a video on first aid, items to have in a first aid kit. A lot of people have, so you can look at a lot of different videos. In some ways, I saw this one list of first aid. I have a medical group that I'm in, and like the first aid list is phenomenal. It's like 30 things, 50 things, I don't know. You just scroll down and you're like, hey. And you're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. I lay my Pyonis, my white cat Pyonis. He doesn't like it when I use my hands to talk. So he can have a little distance. And I decided that having a long list for your first aid kit is kind of ridiculous. Like, where are you going to put it and stuff? So I think you kind of have to know your bird or your birds, and you have to understand what they need, or kind of like what accidents they get into, kind of what you have to prepare for. Hopefully none, but some real basics are the hydrogen peroxide. We keep our Tinks must have CBD oil on hand, because then we can give them a little, and it acts as a little bit of an anti-inflammatory, relaxes them a little, and it can take away a little pain, which is always a good thing. Now you're eating the camera. Don't eat the camera. You don't know. All right, behave, okay? Oh, look at that. And avoid that poop. We'll have to clean that later. The vet tape we think is really good. Scissors in case we need to like cut some feathers to, sometimes if they're bleeding or something, the feathers get matted if the blood dries. Anything like that, just have some basics around. To some extent, those things are kind of common first aid items anyway. Now, we also did give her a little bit of electrolytes, which is just like either Pedialyte or a electrolyte sports drink, because it gives them the electrolytes, it helps hydrate them. You know, it's actually recommended by like anyone who I've ever talked to about birds, kind of thing, about parrots. So that's what we did, and it was sort of an easy thing because so far there's nothing major, there's no like broken body parts, anything like that. Now, on a different occasion, Ale got bitten by my hawk-headed parrot, because my hawk-headed parrot is aggressive. She can be aggressive, and she's jealous of Ale, so she was out to injure him. And even though I got to them in 10 seconds, because he was on my shoulder and she like jumped and knocked him down, so I was right there. But she bit his heel, and I think we put some hydrogen peroxide on him, but you know, we just ran him to the vet for an emergency appointment, which was a good thing. The vet took an x-ray, made sure nothing was wrong, and then she stitched him up because he needed a few little stitches. So, and then of course he got an antibiotic. So, you know, make sure you have a vet somewhere you can go for the antibiotics, because you know that's a big thing when they have something exposed, like on their wing or their beak or something, and there's blood, when there's an opening, that can be a problem. And like I said, the hydrogen peroxide, just so that you could do a couple basic things and put them somewhere safe, put them somewhere where, the first thing we did was we put her in a little carrier that's a dome. It has no place to perch. It has, you know, there's nothing to do except like sit on the bed of aspen shavings, so that she could just be calm. It could be easy. She doesn't have to balance, like, you know, just, so make sure you have a little place, a little cage, a little box, something where they can breathe if it's a box, but they can kind of be warm. There's no air coming in, there's no one bugging them. Those things are all really important, and that way you can take them to the vet and make sure that everything's taken care of. Hopefully that helps you, because we've just dealt with enough that we know what to do, and then, you know, at this point, I know whether I need to run and have a emergency vet appointment. Don't eat the camera, Ale. Or whether I can wait a little, and I know, you know, what first aid I need to do to wait a day or two to go to the vet. But if you don't, I think it's really important that you have some basics and you kind of have an idea what to do, so that you can be calm, take some really good actions, and do everything you can in your power to try to help out your parrot, because hopefully you have a blissful bond with your parrot, and making sure that you can take care of them is so important. If you love this video and it helped you out, I'd love a super thanks. You could just send me a coffee next to the thumbs up, which I would also love. You just scroll over and the super thanks is there, or leave a comment below. Maybe you have had an experience that you can share that would help other people. Maybe if this helps you, I would love to hear about it, that kind of thing. And then I will catch you in the next feathered and blissful video, in which Ale, my white cat pioneers, won't be eating the stand, the tripod. Thanks guys, catch you next time.